General Zixithara had conquered 17 star systems without losing a single vessel. His crimson carapace bore the scars of a dozen campaigns, each mark a testament to the hegemony's unstoppable expansion across the galaxy. Today, as he stood before the War Council of Vorth Prime, those scars seemed to pulse with anticipation. The humans, he clicked dismissively, his forearms gesturing at the holographic display of Earth's solar system, are nothing more than primitive mammals, clinging to a single world. They have barely achieved interplanetary travel, let alone mastered the void between stars. The assembled council members, representatives from 6 different species that had sworn fealty to the hegemony, nodded in agreement. The Krellians, with their bulbous heads, the insectoid Vorthak, and the crystalline silicates all shared the same sentiment. Humans were an anomaly, a species that had somehow avoided detection until recently. Their ships, Zixithara continued, pulling up tactical analyses, are crude metal constructs held together by chemical propulsion. No energy shields, no plasma weaponry, no quantum tunneling capabilities. They still use kinetic projectiles and explosive warheads. A series of chittering sounds erupted from the council, the hegemony equivalent of laughter. Admiral Kethvar, a towering Krellian whose species had been subjugated 3 centuries prior, raised a tentacle.
General, perhaps we should exercise caution. Their inclusion in galactic affairs might prove educational. Zixithara's mandibles clicked sharply. Educational? These creatures haven't even unified their own planet. They wage wars among themselves, using technologies we abandoned millennia ago. One demonstration of our superiority will be sufficient to secure their immediate surrender. The decision was unanimous. Zixithara would lead a modest fleet, merely 50 vessels to Earth. It was considered overkill by most standards given that human civilization possessed perhaps 24 functional spacecraft scattered throughout their system. 3 weeks. Later, Zixithara's fleet emerged from quantum fold space at the edge of the Sol system. The ships were elegant predators, sleek, biomechanical hybrids that could tear through asteroid fields and level continents with equal ease. Each vessel housed a crew of 200 warriors, equipped with personal energy weapons that could vaporize matter at the molecular level. Begin the approach, Zixithara commanded from his flagship's bridge. Standard intimidation formation. Let them witness the futility of resistance. But as they drew closer to Earth, something unexpected happened. The primitive human vessels, rather than fleeing or broadcasting surrender, moved to intercept. Not just the military ships, cargo haulers, mining rigs, even civilian transports began forming crude battle lines. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "the humans they're not running." Zixithara studied the display with growing irritation. Of course they're not running. They're too primitive to understand what they're facing. Open a communication channel. The response came not from Earth's government, but from what appeared to be a converted freight vessel drifting near Mars. A human male with graying hair and tired eyes appeared on the screen, wearing a simple blue uniform marked with unfamiliar insignia. "This is Admiral Chen of the Sol Defense Fleet," the human said calmly. "You are in violation of Terran space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." The bridge erupted in chittering laughter. Sol Defense Fleet? Zixithara counted 37. Human vessels total, many of them clearly repurposed civilian craft. "I am General Zixithara of the Galactic Hegemony," he replied. "Your species will surrender unconditionally, or we will demonstrate why 17 star systems have fallen before us." Admiral Chen's expression didn't change. Negative. Earth stands. The communication cut off, and Zixithara stared at the blank screen. In 3 centuries of conquest, no species had ever simply said no after witnessing the hegemony fleet. There was always fear, always desperate attempts at negotiation. "Destroy half their vessels," Zixithara ordered. "Leave the rest intact, to witness our mercy." The first wave of hegemony ships advanced, energy weapons charging. But something went wrong almost immediately. The human vessels, rather than forming traditional battle lines, scattered into seemingly random patterns.
Some accelerated toward the asteroid belt, others dove toward the inner planets. Then the attacks began. They came from everywhere at once. Mining charges repurposed as ship killers erupted from concealed positions within asteroids. Civilian vessels revealed hidden missile batteries, launching waves of primitive but devastatingly effective kinetic weapons. The humans had turned their entire star system into a trap, but it was their tactics that truly shocked Zixathara. Human ships rammed his vessels at full burn, their crews somehow managing to survive the impacts in primitive escape pods before being recovered by other ships. They used gravity wells as weapons, slingshotting disabled hegemony vessels into planets or the sun itself. Most disturbing of all was their apparent disregard for conventional military doctrine. Human commanders made decisions that no sane tactical computer would ever recommend, and somehow they worked. They turned weaknesses into advantages, desperation into strategy. "Sir," his communications officer called out in panic, "we're losing ships faster than we can count. Their weapons they're improvised, but they're working." Zixathara watched in growing horror as his fleet was systematically dismantled by an enemy that shouldn't have been able to scratch his hull plating. A cargo ship loaded with industrial explosives had just taken out one of his destroyers. A mining platform had somehow grappled and disabled a cruiser using nothing but magnetic clamps and raw determination. "Retreat to fold space distance," he ordered, but even that proved difficult. The humans had anticipated this tactic, placing their most heavily armed vessels between the hegemony fleet and the system's edge. When Zixathara's flagship finally limped away from Earth with only 12 survivors of his original 50-ship fleet, he carried with him a new understanding of humanity. They weren't weak because they lacked advanced technology. They were terrifying precisely because they could accomplish so much with so little. The War Council of Vorth Prime never saw General Zixathara again. His final transmission, sent from the edges of Sol system, contained only 7 words that would haunt the hegemony for generations to come. Do not underestimate the humans. Ever. Earth remained unconquered, its people having proven that sometimes the most dangerous enemy is the one with nothing left to lose and everything to fight for.